and today is Monday, April 10th, and I'm Melanie Morris, and you know who I am. I am the lady in the yellow jacket. And hopefully you've caught on. I'm here every Monday night at 7:30 p.m., and I'm going to be bringing you stories from residents in and around Somerville, Boston, Greater Boston. I just want to bring you great stories relative to people, issues, and if you know of somebody doing something really good or someone who should get some media coverage, tweet me. You can find me at Melanie Morris TV. Also, you should be setting your DVRs for every Monday night at 7:30 so that you can watch my show. And speaking of my show, I hope you saw my show last week. It was phenomenal. My guest, Claudia Solares, Claudia Solares is back this week. She was with us last week, and her story is just phenomenal. Claudia fled Guatemala for a better life here in the U.S. She went on a 35-day trek out of Guatemala into Arizona. She was smuggled into the U.S. She paid to be smuggled into the U.S. And she told us her harrowing story. And she just had so much to tell. I wanted to invite her back this week so we can find out more about her personal life in Guatemala and exactly why she left. Now, if you missed last week's show, don't worry. You can see it next Monday, 1 week from tonight. It's going to re-air 1 week from tonight, and trust me, you do want to see this. So Claudia, thank you so much for coming back in today.
Welcome, of course.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, your story was just so compelling that I wanted to get part two.
Sure.
Since we had part one fresh on the brain.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, just to recap, again, as I told you, Claudia fled Guatemala for a better life in the U.S., as many refugees do. You know, there's certain things going on in their country that they're not happy with, and they want a better life. So tonight we're going to talk and find out more about Guatemala and why Claudia left Guatemala. So tell us about Guatemala. Is it a pretty place?
It is a beautiful place to be. I love their streets, their mountains, places to go, like to trip and check around all about Guatemala. It's just beautiful.
Just a beautiful place, just a beautiful place. So let's just go back to your childhood growing up. How many brothers and sisters did you have, and what was the secret that the family was hiding from you and they were hoping that you would never find out?
I grew up in a family of eight brothers, all total, like five. We were 5 girls and 3 boys.
Okay, so 8 children, 5 girls, 3 boys.
Yeah. My mom and dad, for what I knew from them, they didn't have like close family. So I didn't grow up with nieces or cousins because we didn't have the family, the big family.
Okay, so your parents were not close to their siblings or their brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You guys just kind of stuck together.
Yes, exactly. So we were just brothers and sisters all together.
Okay.
That's all, mom and dad.
Mom and dad, brothers and sisters. Yeah. And what was the family secret that they were hoping?
Family secret that my mom wanted me to never knew about it was that I was adopted in the family. I was the youngest from all of them. Mm-hmm.
You were adopted.
I was adopted.
Now, when did you find out? And how did you find out you were adopted?
I think around 7 years, when I was putting more attention into what was going on around me. That my mother had a friend who they had an argument. So her friend came to me and told me, "You are not real daughter of her." So for me it was shocking, of course, but I started to take it like more serious when as a child you can see that if you get punished for corrections in the family, and I started to feel like, oh, she's doing it to me because I am not her real daughter. So your mom had a fight with her friend, and the friend came to you and blew the adoption in and told you that you were adopted. Yeah. And then this is when I started like having so many questions in my head and my mind and wanted to know about everything. But it was hard for me because my sisters were able to talk to me about that, but my mom never did.
Your mom never talked to you about being adopted?
No.
Did you ask her?
I tried, but I think it was more as a respectful that I had for her, so I didn't want to ask her I felt bad.
You felt
I don't know,
bad?
Yeah.
Okay, you felt bad.
I didn't feel confident on asking her about that.
Okay, you didn't feel confident about asking her about that. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So did you talk about it with amongst your brothers and your sisters?
Yes, I did. I was able to talk a little more freely when they found out that I knew about that, because I was asking them, like, why did this person said to me that I wasn't the real daughter? So they asked me how do I knew, and that's how when
Okay.
they started to open up to
So
me. And
what did you find out? What information, since your mom wasn't giving you any information, were your brothers and sisters able to tell you why you were adopted or give you more information?
yes, they did. They were telling me that my mom had this friend, not too close friend, but she was pregnant with me, of course, but she was looking for somebody to give it to because she wasn't going to take care of the baby, so she was probably going to leave her in the hospital. So my mom, when she knew about what she was going to do, my mom told her that to give it to her, that she was going to take care of the baby. She just loved babies all the time.
Well, that's very honorable for a woman who had 7 children already.
Exactly.
She had 7 children, and here's a person whom she knew
Yeah.
who had a baby who didn't want the baby, and your mom said, you know what, give me the baby, I'll take this young lady home and take care of her.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that I admire to my mom, from my mom all the time, for what she did to me, for me.
Right, right. So what was life like after you found out you were adopted? Did things change?
Things changed a little bit for my own perspective, for saying like that, because as I told you, I started to see many things that I wasn't feeling comfortable with, but at the same time, I was making it up in my own head, myself, why this was happening, or I know why is this happening now, things like that. So it was all in my head. I didn't have the guidance that I needed to understand a lot of things.
So in essence, you were pretty much kind of like on your own with
On
this.
my own,
Right? Your
exactly.
parents weren't talking to you about this. Your brothers and sisters, I mean, they're just brothers and sisters and siblings, so they may not, even though they knew some of the story, they may not have known the whole story, and then they weren't able to give you the proper guidance.
Exactly.
So you really,
Yeah, I was pretty much on my
you're
own.
pretty much on your own. Now, what about school? Let's talk about school.
My mother and father, they just gave us to all of us, were giving us just until 6th grade education. After that, we were on our own. I did my 6th grade. My mom told me, it's all that I can do for you. I cannot give you more, because I grew up in poverty. So we didn't have too much money.
So did they have to pay for you to go to school through the 6th grade?
Not really. They didn't pay because it was a public school. But
Okay.
they had to pay for all the materials and uniforms and keep me shoes and clothes, you know. So they had to buy all those stuff. So it was even hard for them to give those things to me.
Right, and not only you, but then like she said, she had
for all.
8, right, there were 8
Exactly.
children, so
Yeah.
they had to furnish all of those school items for 8 children,
Yeah.
and if you grew up in poverty,
And as the children, my older brothers and sisters were getting into adulthood, so they started to work and try to give some money to the house, but at the same time they were getting away because they were doing their own lives, so it was less help for my mom as well, so it was a little hard.
Now, have you ever met your biological mother?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Now, how did you end up connecting with her? Since your mom never talked to you didn't want to talk about adoption.
She ended up being the partner for one of my brothers in the family. Yeah.
Alrighty then. So just to make sure everybody got that, your biological mother ended up being the partner
Of one of
your brothers, and
at the time.
did
yeah.
they have children?
They did. They had 3.
They had 3 children
me.
after you, which would have made them both your brothers
Brothers
and your nephews.
and nephews. Brothers for my mom, nephews for the family that I grew up with.
Right, right.
It's confusing.
It is
sometimes.
confusing, but you know what? It's your story. It is
Yeah.
your story, and what a compelling story.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a relationship with her now? Are things
No, I stopped having a relationship since I started to see how my mom was jealous about me. My mom, the one that raised me up.
okay? So your adoptive mom
Yeah.
started being jealous.
Yeah, when she knew that I knew about
Your birth mother.
my birth mom, so she started to feel very insecure. She thought that I was going to change her,
Okay.
and I wasn't going to love her anymore.
Oh.
So my doubts as a girl, I wanted to know about my real mom, and I wanted to desperately know her and
Right,
feel how it feels to be near my real mom. And I did. I had the opportunity to go and spend some time with my real mom, but it made me realize as well all the job that my adopted mother did for me, and that brought me back to her.
Okay. So your adoptive mom thought that she may lose you after you started asking questions
Definitely.
and learning more about your birth mom, and then so you fully understand how your adoptive mom
Yeah.
felt, so you left the birth mom alone.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Right,
Yeah.
especially since obviously she's put all this time and energy into offering you, bringing you home,
Yeah.
offering you a loving home.
Definitely.
Was it a loving home growing up?
From my mom, yes. From my siblings, sometimes it was, some others not. So it it gave me a view of that in my family who really was going just behind me was my mom.
Okay, your mom was really the one behind
Yeah,
you. So you said with your siblings, I mean, did they maybe taunt you because now they knew that you weren't the blood sister?
Yeah, exactly.
Did
Oh
they-
yeah, one of them, the older sister, she threw in my head in my face that I wasn't the real blood, and that made me, of course, very sad. And but at the same time, it gave me the strength because I knew that not being the real blood,
Right.
I had somebody who was with me, who was my mom, so she was always behind me. Yeah. So.
Now your siblings who are down there now, like for example, the one that threw that up in your face, do you have any relationship with them?
No.
With none of them?
Not with her.
Not with her?
But with the rest of them, yes. Yes. And some others, no. Not that close, but I just kept the good memories that I got to live with them.
Okay, so and that's good. There were some good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good
Yes.
memories.
Definitely.
So you mentioned that you grew up poor.
Yes,
You know,
I
there
did.
wasn't a lot of money. Obviously, there was 8 kids. And you didn't talk about your dad at all. You haven't spoken about your dad.
My dad, my biological dad?
No, your adopted
my
dad.
adopted dad, he was kind of always like behind in the picture because when I grew up with my mom, they were separated. They were
Okay.
living in different places, even though he was coming to the house all the time to check on everybody. But I never got to spend time with him.
Okay, so even though they were separated, he would still come to the house
Yeah, to check
and
on
check on the
everybody.
kids, make sure everything was okay.
And on my mom.
Okay, all right. So you were a teen mom. You had
Yes.
3 children in your teens.
Yes, and thanks to my mom, always her supporting me. So at the time I had my 3 children, when I saw that I had 3 little ones, I said, well, it's time to work. And it's
So were
when
you in school then, or no?
I had to stop
Oh,
school.
you had to stop school. Okay.
So then I started to work, just work and bringing money for food in the house. But it was hard. It was very hard because I would bring barely enough for the milk or clothes for the little ones and nothing for me or my mom. That's what kept me working and trying to find a better situation for all of us.
Now, and the kid's father, was he able to help at all?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No. As a teenager, of course, that I was trying to find love in someone, I ended up in the wrong hands of a guy who doubled my age, who just, of course, just took advantage of me. And that's when I said, it's not worth it, of course. I have to take my own life, put myself together.
Good
and
for
do
you.
something for my little ones.
Good for you. So even though you made that mistake, you recognized,
Definitely.
obviously, if you were a teenager and he was double your age, so he had to be in his 30s,
Yeah.
at least in his, early
Yeah.
to mid 30s.
I was 16 and he was 32. Yeah, big mistake. But at the end, my children's are all worth it.
In the end, your children are all worth it. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So, and that's realize, you realize that's good. You realize you made the mistake, and at some point you got yourself out of that situation because you said that he was the wrong person to be with.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he was the wrong person to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, what do you miss about Guatemala?
Everything.
Everything? For those out there who've never been to Guatemala, I've never been to Guatemala.
Oh,
What are maybe just some highlights, one or two highlights that, if somebody's going to Guatemala, they should see, or give us a story or tell us?
I remember, by being working on the weekends, my days off weekends, we would go to the market. Really, I would take my children to the big park full of plants and trees over there, where they would be able to play and see the church all the way there, and being able to go and buy fresh fruit, fresh meats, fresh everything, groceries, and just have a family time all together, and come back home, make a big meal, and enjoy it, all sitting down at a table.
Is family time really something big that's celebrated in Guatemala?
Definitely, yes. In Guatemala, it's hard for people, for kids to leave the house, because no matter how old they are, we want to keep them close to us. And I say us because I'm a mother and I don't want my children to go away, even if they are older.
Okay, so it's part of the Guatemalan cultures, keep your kids as close as possible.
Yeah, with all their families, if it's possible, as my mom wanted me.
The kids and their families?
Yeah.
Wow, well, that's definitely not in the U.S. culture. These
Definitely.
parents are kicking their kids out. Sometimes, they're sending them to boarding school like in 8th grade.
I know.
Let alone after college, they're like, you know what? We've turned your room into a study. You need to find someplace else.
I know.
And what about, did you have any girlfriends that you left in Guatemala?
Oh, yes. I try to keep in touch with them because I have great memories about them, like going to school. I still have some friends from school, from secondary education, and also great teachers as well that taught me really good stuff. And also some friends that I work with as well. So I keep in touch with them.
How do you keep in touch with them?
Either Facebook or WhatsApp, and on the phone. I always try to be updating them, and they update me as well. So they're, of course, waiting for me to get there.
I know they want to see you.
To see them
because
as well.
you left in 2004.
Yeah.
And you haven't been back since.
Yeah.
But that's going to change soon, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, what are some of the downfalls about Guatemala? I mean, how is the police or the government?
Corrupt.
Corrupt. Why?
Very sad, because we look for being safe over there, but the same police is corrupt. They abuse their power, and they take advantage of that. So it's sad.
Sad? Okay.
So I wouldn't. It's really messed up, because we all work very hard just to bring food to our homes, and they will just destroy the happiness we can have in families.
So I know that there was a story. You have your own personal story about the police, and so you know firsthand that they're corrupt.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that they're corrupt. And you said that it was really after that situation that you were in where you thought that, wow, maybe this is a chance where I can leave Guatemala.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Definitely, yes. In January, I went through a really hard time, and
You went through a hard time with the police.
yes,
Okay.
with the police, and
That was January 2004.
January, and then put me down a lot, and it took me time to stand up as well and realize that I wasn't able to be there like with the same calm or the same strength to keep going. So that's when my sister decided to help me come in here. And in October, I was taking this trip here to the U.S.
Wow. So in January, the situation happened, and 10 months later, you're,
Out of the country.
out of the country, leaving the country. And she left the country, folks, only with the clothes on her back.
Yeah.
She told us last week. She only had the clothes on her back.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
When you met obviously the smugglers who smuggled you all, across
Mexico through.
Guatemala, Mexico, and then up through Arizona into the United States.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, so you had a sister here who helped you to get to the United States.
Yeah.
Now, is she still here? Is your sister still here?
She's here.
She is still here. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I know that we've got just about 5-6 minutes left. I
Wow,
know it
so
goes by
fast.
fast. It goes by fast. So just briefly tell us about your coming to the U.S.
For me, it was a big hope to being here. Principal, I didn't know that this trip was going to be that excited, but at the same time was scary because it was a bunch of people and you never know what was going to happen during the trip. But it came out good. It came out great. Everything, we made it, excuse me, and we made it all safe to the points that we were supposed to be.
Okay.
And
everyone made it to the points they were supposed to be safely.
yes.
And also last week she mentioned that how this works is they give their smugglers half of the money up front. It was $5,500.
Yes.
Half of the money up front, and then the other half when they reach across the U.S. border to the destination
Oh yeah.
where they are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then that's when the second portion is paid, and then their family members or loved ones actually were able to pick them up. Now, I know as we talked about last week, you are undocumented, but
Yep.
you were not afraid, and I was just so... I know initially when I asked you to come on the show, and I said, well, we don't have to use your name, and, and you were like, no, we can use my name, it's okay. Why are you, especially with this whole United States ban and immigration ban, why are you not afraid? And what advice would you give to somebody out there who is afraid?
I think we have enough things to be afraid of or to think too much about, like in our personal lives, how healthy we are, how are we going to fight diseases or sickness, or how to bring money home for food for our families, how we are going to keep supporting those people in our families. I think we have enough already to be worried about. To still, on top of all of that, being worried for being caught or, I don't know, to stop our lives from what we're having right now. So I think we have to think positive. I think positive thoughts bring positive things around us. That's what I think.
Okay, positive thoughts bring positive things around us. Now, I know you had your 3 children, and you said, that gentleman, that was a mistake. He was twice your age. But you found new love here in the
Yes,
U.S.,
I
and it's
did.
almost like a second chance at love.
It is definitely. It took me years to take a second chance as well, because I had to heal myself before giving myself another chance, and I made it. I made it to the point that I was able to open up my heart and giving myself another chance, and not just for myself, but for my children to see real loving mother they have. Not just for my children, but for a partner that I can see now that he's gonna be the one until the end of my life.
Yay! We always love stories. That is fantastic. That is fantastic that you were able to find true love.
Yeah.
And, you know, find a partner. And
Yeah.
she's going to be getting married soon, at some point here in 2017.
Yes.
She's going to be getting married soon, and I would assume after you get married, you're going to have all your papers
Yep.
in order, and then you'll be able to go back to Guatemala
Yes.
to see family and friends.
Oh my God, I can wait.
I'm sure you cannot wait.
Yes.
Now, before we end the show, what does Claudia do for fun? What do you do for fun? That's one thing we haven't talked about. We talked about being smuggled across the border and being in the truck for 36 hours. That was on last week's show, so check it out next week.
Well, you know, my little ones keep me busy. So right now, enjoying the weather, and my fiance and I go places to see beaches around here and parks for the little ones, and at the same time, just enjoy the time together, all four. And we're planning already some trip for all the children and us. So we can't wait to have memories. Just bring good and nice, positive memories to everybody in the family.
Great, good and nice positive memories for you and everybody in the family. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you this. We got about 30 seconds left. Thanks for joining us tonight. When she was separated from her kids for 8 years, and then she had her kids smuggled over. So eventually she reconnected with her children. So all 3 of her children that were born in Guatemala are with her, and then she had 2 more while she was here in the United States. So she's here, loving mother, married, getting ready to be married, and she's got all 5 of her children. So I know it's been great weather out, and you're gonna do probably some fun things with the kids. Even tomorrow, it's gonna be, you know, almost
Every
80
day.
degrees every day.
I try to do every day something different that everybody can enjoy.
Oh, what a loving mother. She's doing something different for her kids. Your kids must love you.
Oh my God, they don't want to leave home.
I was going to say, she is right. They're never, they are never, ever going to leave the house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, this is Claudia. Thank you so much for coming in. Her kids are never, ever, ever going to leave home. They're going to have kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. Everybody's going to be up in the house. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget to tweet me at Melanie Morse TV if you have a show suggestion. Thanks and good night.